Welcome to Marvel Rivals. Today we have a bunch of setting changes that will inevitably help you win some more games. We'll go over everything from in-game settings and even take a deep dive into each hero because there's definitely settings you need to change for them as well. This will all help to improve your aim, your game sense, and even help your team so you can win more fights. So let's get started. We're first going to hop into the pause menu and then go over to settings. From here we're going to go over to the audio tab, and if you scroll down a bit under playback, we want to make sure we have that 3D enhancement on. This will help you pinpoint different sounds such as footsteps or even the direction of where an ult may be coming from. So if you have the headphones that can support this, definitely check it on. Next, we're going to head into combat mix. From here under the mix presets, we're going to make sure this is on focus. Now you have a few different options, but if you want a more competitive advantage, focus is going to be the setting for you. This is a mixing style that's going to enhance that sound feedback. It's primarily going to highlight that immediate threat, such as somebody trying to hit it from the back, so it's going to reduce some of those environmental sounds that aren't as important. What you need to hear in order to get that edge is in that focus mode. You also have some custom settings right here. So for material layer volume, these are those sounds for certain characters, such as Iron Man, you get that metallic sound, or Groot, you get that wooden sound. So you can kind of play with this value in game. I keep mine at around 75. Same with UI layer. And then if you go down a little bit more, we'll have the healing sound volume. So if you're a support player, this is the sound you'll hear as you're healing your teammates. And as the person being healed, this is what's going to be affecting you. So you can adjust these two settings to what you like. 5 is a pretty nice indicator. And it can kind of tell you if you're in the middle of a fight getting healed or not. You will definitely hear it. Same with that damage volume. You will immediately know if you're hit if you keep this thing at 5. And then of course the announcer volume, I like to crank this all the way down because sometimes she can be annoying. Scrolling down a little bit more, KO Q sound is not turned on by default, and this is basically a little sound ping for whenever a teammate is killed. This is a very distinctive sound, and after a few games you will get the hang of it. So make sure this is turned on and then adjust it to whatever volume you want. The same thing applies for the announce enemy KO. This will be another distinct different sound, but it lets you know when your team is taking out the enemy. So again, make sure that is turned on as well. Now this next setting is going to be extremely important. By default, you have a communication wheel with only 4 slots, but you can easily double it. If you head over to either the keyboard or the controller settings, we want to go down into communication. Under the number of wheel sections, you'll see a drop down right to the side where you can change this to 8. From here, you can now assign some new commands. So now for instance, you can greet your teammates, you can acknowledge them, or even say thanks as you get healed. You can also set up attack here, or what I found very useful is this group up. Sometimes people just jut out of spawn while Doctor Strange is trying to set up that portal. So a majority of the time, if you use this group up command, they'll look back and see what the team is actually doing. You can also now set that retreat, need help, need healing, which is DPS's favorite, and then a few others. Also, if you weren't aware, if you double click the button to bring up this wheel, you can quickly do various commands. So by double pressing it, you can do a caution. If you click it once, it notifies your enemy with their name on top. And if you're not highlighted on an enemy, you can kind of ping different points. Definitely handy in the thick of the fight. Next, we'll head to the accessibility tab because you can actually change the color of various UI elements. You can change the color of your ally, enemy, your HP bar, and even your shield health. You just simply need to pick your color of choice, and keep in mind this is a scrollable menu, so you have plenty of colors to choose from. That's how you see me having that green health bar at the bottom of the screen, and even when we kill the enemy, you'll see that it's now purple. Now we'll hop into some hero specific settings. So again, either in keyboard or controller, we're gonna hop into the combat tab. From here, if we scroll down, you're gonna see an option called allied health bars. This is extremely important to keep on because it's going to keep these health bars on top of your allies' heads. This makes it very easy to see where they're at, so you can either provide that healing or that backup just in case. Now we'll touch on a setting for all melee heroes that you're going to have to change individually, and this is called display attack range. We want to make sure we have this on. So as you get closer to an enemy, you'll see that they highlight red. If they aren't highlighted red, your attacks won't hit them. But as soon as they become highlighted, your attacks will hit. So you can now guarantee you'll hit your shot when they're highlighted, which is definitely very handy. There's also a helpful setting for Bruce Banner when it comes to his incredible leap. So traditionally, you need to hold down that leap button in order to charge up and jump. So you would basically hop into fights, hold that button while you're doing your melee attacks, and then of course release that button to hop back out. If you deactivate this though, all you need to do is tap that button and it will charge up automatically. You tap it again in order to leave. So once you make it to where you want to go, you tap that button again, and then when you're ready to leave, you tap it to get out. This will free up a finger to let you do what you need to do, and I definitely like this thing. healing. Wow, I wish I knew about this sooner. Now moving on to a strategist, Adam Warlock. Now this is a setting you're gonna have to change for all of the healers as well, and this one is called healing reticle feedback. Now this is definitely pretty optional, but what this does is give you that little green crosshair that you see as you heal your allies. So it's a little bit more feedback to know that you're healing your mates. An optional mod, but it could be handy in some intense situations. Moving on to Black Panther, and this is one of those settings you can change for anybody that can climb a wall, but you can basically have the ability to hold the button while you wall climb, or have it to where you have to tap it to climb and then tap it to get off. So definitely pick whatever you feel is the best for you. Black Widow is a unique one because you have your standard FOV, which you'll use your standard sensitivity for, but then when you're scoped in with your sniper rifle, the speed in which you aimed is kind of changed. You can really fine tune this in her settings under the ADS sensitivity settings. So by bumping this down to around 40, 30, or even 50, depending on what feels best for you, you have a lot easier time going from your regular FOV over to the sniper FOV. So definitely give that one a try. Now for Captain America. For myself, I found activating these two settings way easier to play him. So instead of tapping to activate, I now have to hold in order to raise my shield, as well as the same for the sprint button. I am holding that button, and when I release it, he goes back to his regular walk. I was getting caught up so many times by tapping the button and then forgetting to tap it to go back to my regular speed. So this setting is definitely another optional one, but for me, playing games like Legend of Zelda, where I needed to actively hold that button to shield, or Monster Hunter, where I had to actively hold that sprint button in order to sprint, this makes it a lot easier. Now, some heroes don't really have anything you can adjust, but again, for support characters, just as a reminder, that healing reticle feedback can help you out in a pinch. So we'll skip the characters that don't have anything that you can really adjust. Now for characters such as Hela, you're able to auto fall if you want to, or have it on an activate type basis. So these are settings you can play around with those type of characters. And then kind of the same as Captain America. For Iron Man, whenever I went into this fast mode, I always forgot to tap the button again to get out of it. So I deactivated the default settings, so I'm able to just release the button and then come to a standstill. This has helped me out tremendously. So you can turn on hold mode in Iron Man settings. Now onto the Spider series. This is how I kind of have mine set up. So we've turned off that automatic swinging, which by default, when you press the swing button, you'll automatically find a point of interest and then swing out. If you instead turn this option off, wherever you're pointing is where you're gonna sling your web. This allows you to do a variety of things. So not only can you swing from a high point, but you can kind of zip line yourself down. This will give you a lot better mobility and get you out of a lot of sticky situations. The same holds true for Venom as well. So if you turn off that easy swing, you'll be able to zip line too, and then you'll have to actually aim to target those high points, but definitely worth it. Now Punisher is kind of like Black Widow. You have your standard FOV, but as soon as you hit that turret mode, your FOV will zoom in, and you may notice that your aim may be a little bit off. You can easily adjust this in his hero stats by just bumping it down a little bit. I have mine set at 90, but you're gonna have to experiment with this number depending on what your baseline sensitivity is. But once you perfect it, going in and out of FOVs will be nice and smooth. You will really feel that your aim has improved. Now that's it for some of the unique character settings, but if we go into the UI tab, there's one more thing you definitely need to know. Of course, you have your hero profile button to where in game you can see your character's abilities, but some people aren't aware of the Chrono Vision hotkey. Once you press this button, you'll see that some areas are highlighted yellow. Anything that's highlighted yellow is breakable. So you may see walls that are in game that happen to be yellow. That means you can break through them, creating an alternate passageway for you and your team to go in. This is great for flankers and finding routes to outflank the enemy. So definitely do not forget the Chrono Trigger button. Hopefully you learned something new, and I hope you're ready to win some more games. We have many more guides that are coming out, so don't forget to like and subscribe for the latest. But until then, we'll see ya.